Welcome to the Self-Storage Show, where I have conversations with my industry friends, talk with owners and vendors, and share tales about my management company, 3 Mile Storage. Let's go. Hey everyone, so I just finished putting together this new book, 3 Mile Storage Management, 3 Zones of Excellence. This is our framework for success in self-storage. Want a free copy? Okay, here's the deal. Book a strategy session with me. Together we're going to walk your business through the 3 Zones of Excellence framework. And I've done countless sessions like these over the years with many self-storage owners. I guarantee you that together, we're going to reveal some ways to increase your leads, rentals, and revenue. So go to 3milestorage.com and book your time today. Hi everyone, this is Jim Ross with the Self-Storage Show. Got another interview for this interview series we've been doing. It's been a lot of fun. It gives me an opportunity to kind of meet new people and new faces, and here's one of them. I got Mason Gates with me. He's a broker with Matthews Real Estate Investment Services. What's up, Mason?
How's it going, Jim?
Good. Yeah, I remember you. I think you hit me up on LinkedIn, going, "Hey, you want to chat?" So I was looking at LinkedIn profiles and looked you up. I'm like, "Okay." Looked you up. I'm like, "Oh crap, this dude's killing it." So that's why I was like, "All right, gotta have you on, kind of talk about your story and all that." So if you don't mind, just kind of break into it here. Just introduce yourself a little bit, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, my name is Mason Gates. I'm a self-storage broker. I specialize primarily in the Midwest market. So Nebraska is my main area of expertise, but I definitely hit, the Dakotas, Wyoming, Montana. We're venturing a little bit into Kansas and Missouri as well. We've got some stuff we're working on out there that we're looking to bring to market soon. But yeah, that's pretty much my overall background. I'm pretty much here in the office 7 to 6 most days. I try to be accessible on the weekends as well. Not always here in the office, but still available to be reached out to. And yeah, just looking to be valuable to owners, especially in this market. I mean, right now it's a lot of it is about building relationships more so than anything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good. Yeah, you mentioned the Dakotas. I always have like bad flashbacks of going to Williston, North Dakota.
Oh God.
In the middle of winter. It was like, I've never been there before. I go there,
Yeah.
and like the owner's like, "Hey, we're doing like some due diligence." I was doing some stuff out there, and I think it was like December, and I get there, and it was just
Yeah.
go to the rental car. They handed me the basically like an ice pick to get into the doors and scrape
Right.
the windows. I'm like, what the? I've never been so cold in my life, and it was insane. That was like, all right, I'll come back in the springtime. That was my introduction to North Dakota.
Yeah, we're selling a deal that's supposed to close at some point today in Wolf Point, Montana, and the owner actually lives in Williston. So yeah, and Wolf Point is very far. I think it's like 20 miles from Canada, so it gets pretty cold up there too. But yeah.
That's funny. So let's kind of rewind the clock a little bit. How'd you fall into brokers here? How'd you get into this line of business?
Yeah, so I kind of have a unique story. I didn't go the traditional route that most commercial brokers go. I originally, out of high school, my plan was to attend West Point, but I ended up picking Arizona State because I received an ROTC scholarship. Went there for a year, ended up joining a fraternity, and one of the graduate brothers, who is an associate vice president now at our company, he had put in an inquiry with all of us, if we were interested in an internship over the summer. I love Arizona. I wanted to stay out here, so I figured, why not? Took it on. I actually was squatting out of my friend's apartment for the whole summer while I was doing it. So it was some tough living, but yeah, we did that. And I ended up liking the internship so much that 2 weeks in, I essentially told them, I'm looking to do this full time. I'm willing to buy in. So they gave me the opportunity to pursue it. And ultimately I chose to do so. And I've been loving it ever since. So I've been doing it for I would say close to about a year and a half now. But in that short time, I think I've built up quite a reputation, especially in the markets that I hit, as far as credibility, knowledge, and market insight goes. Yeah, I mean, I can't ask for a better company where I'm at right now. I got the best training in the business, hands down. which is something we really pride ourselves on. And we are the largest privately held commercial brokerage in the country. So that's obviously big as well. But we've been dominating pretty much any product type that the company has been entering into. So storage has been something we came into a few years back, probably 5 or so years ago.
Yeah.
And since then, we've gained a lot of market share, especially, even myself in Nebraska right now. It's anywhere from I want to say it's 60 to 70% market share as far as deals that have traded on market this year.
Yeah.
So, we've been keeping it flowing, and, despite the market, there's sellers, buyers everywhere. So we're getting deals done.
That's amazing. Oh, congrats. It's once you get the
Thank you.
storage bug, that's just kind
Yeah.
of all right. This is what we're focused on. It's what we're going into. I heard
Right.
over and over and over again. So
Right.
awesome. So
Yeah.
anyway, I talk with brokers all the time, and it's it's just there's always a lot going on. But it sounds like you've got a pretty good niche going, and kind of getting those relationships, cultivating those relationships and talking with owners and things like that. I don't know, maybe kind of walk me through a little bit of a little day in
For
the
sure.
life of.
Yeah. So the number one thing I find to be successful in this business is being accessible and being valuable to people. That was something that was really hammered into us during our training here at Matthews. And so I've always tried to find ways to do that. And so when I first started on the phones, a lot of it was just relationship building. I wasn't necessarily looking to make anything happen that day. But in the last year and a half, I've been able to build some of these relationships into, actually getting listings, actually getting closings, actually finding buyers. But yeah, I mean, that's really like my day in the life is typically wake up at, about 6 a.m., if not earlier. It really depends on the day. If I know I've got something that I've got to take care of in the morning, especially because I'm calling on time zones typically 2 hours ahead, then I'll wake up extra early, especially if I know that person is going to be, wanting to call me. And then I'll get into the office typically right before 7, get here, typically work on broker opinion of values, or BOVs, which is, pricing analysis for the property. And then once the clock strikes about, I'd say 7:30, 8, that's when I start really hitting the phones pretty hard. So I'm making, I would say they're not cold calls anymore, because I have talked to most of the owners at least once now. Most of them I've talked to multiple times now, but warm calls, I would say. And so I talk with them, and I typically do that till 11, grab my lunch. As soon as I'm done eating, go back to hitting the phones. And then once the clock strikes about 3, that's when I start working on my broker opinion of values again, and just anything really that I can do to be useful to owners. So one of the things I've been doing recently is I've started putting together like a rent guide for markets that I hit on. So like some of the bigger markets in Nebraska right now, I've been working on putting together just, like rent guides that tell owners exactly right now in this market, exactly where they should be charging for what units. And I'm going to break it down on a lot of things like, obviously dollar per foot, but also just unit sizes. And I'll make a whole table for that because I just think that's really useful for a lot of owners. And it's a good way to build relationships, get them on the phone, talk to them about, why I can be a resource to them.
Yeah.
But outside of that, again, back to the whole being useful and being accessible, I actually put out a tweet today where I mentioned, last night I was just minding my own business. I was already home. And I had sent a listing agreement that we were working on revisions for yesterday. And I just texted the owner real quick and, asked him, hey, does everything look good? 6:30 my time, 8:30 his time. I ended up getting a call from him this morning at 6:30 a.m., which again, most people aren't, up at 6:30 a.m. when they're doing a commission only job, right? Like it's a hard life, but you got to be accessible is what I found to be successful in this industry. And so I picked up the phone, first ring. We talked about, my text message that I sent last night. And he said, I've never had a broker text me at 8:30 p.m. while I'm sitting there watching Thursday night football, drinking a scotch, asking me if I had a chance to review the listing agreement. And he was like, I'm really impressed with that. And so it's just small things like that. Like, you're just shooting over a quick text. Hey, you have a chance to review it? Everything looked good. Next thing you know, it turns into a big listing. And we actually got the listing agreement signed up this morning. So
congrats.
Yeah. Thank
That's
you. I
awesome.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
being, and it comes down to being genuine too, because most people can see through the BS of it's just like someone just wants the listing or something like that. But being
Right.
genuine and wanting to help the owners and all that, they see that and they want to deal with people that they know, like, and trust. So the
Right.
fact that you go from that angle, no, that's awesome, man. So congrats, that's cool.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate it.
no, I like the idea of doing the rate analysis, because especially in maybe not so much the bigger city markets, but some of these kind of tertiary markets you might be looking at. A lot of times they're the ones that need the help, frankly.
Yeah.
Sometimes
And
they,
they have a hard time finding rates too. I mean, when
yeah,
you go, if you go on Google Maps and you're looking at a small town, the odds that you're going to be able to find rates online is extraordinarily low. So a lot of times it just takes making a couple phone calls, getting the rates, telling them how it's going to be valuable to them. So everyone kind of contributes to it.
yeah.
And then everyone gets a good idea of what's going on. And yeah, again, it just goes back to being valuable.
No, that's cool. And where you can do that, it just kind of starts to snowball, because
Right.
it goes from rates, and that can go lead to more of a customer service thing. That can lead more to rate analysis or rate increase. I mean, all sorts of different
Exactly.
operational issues can stem from that. So I
Yeah.
don't see that very often. So the fact that you're already doing that, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So last time we were talking, I think you just done it, or you're about to speak at the association. How'd that go?
Yeah. I've got that coming up next
Coming up,
month on
okay.
the
Couldn't
8th.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to be invited to speak at the Nebraska Self Storage Owners Association conference.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to it. It'll be my first keynote, but it'll be really good. Just I'm looking forward to getting FaceTime with a lot of the people that I've been talking with,
Yep.
especially in front of all of them and being able to give them the knowledge that I've taken from the last year and a half of making 10 hours of phone calls each day. And so for that, I think, again, it just goes back to, once again, just being valuable and being a resource, even when people aren't looking to make moves, because I always advise, owners, regardless of if they're looking to sell. I mean, there's a 99% chance when I make a phone call that the person is going to tell me they're not ready to sell. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I always advise them that putting together a broker opinion of value is more than just, hey, here's how much your property's worth. We're going to be breaking down a lot of things that show you not only what your property's worth, but where we think you can add value, and then tell you exactly how to add value in those areas. And so that's it, it's a big thing with the rate graphs that I was telling you about as well.
Yeah.
If we can show you, hey, you're below market, too many owner occupied units, too many grandfather tenants, whatever it may be, if we can break that down and show you exactly where the money's being left on the table, it's valuable to owners. So hoping to get a few, broker opinion of values out of that conference, but mainly just looking to really meet people, shake some hands, grab some coffee, and see what I can do to help them out.
No, that's good. I had a chuckle when he said about the owner units. I was just doing a evaluation of an audit of a site not too long ago here where I live. And it was a 350 unit facility. Out of 350 units, 43 were owner.
Oh my gosh.
It was like, oh, it's me, or that's my cousin Bob, or that's my sister. It was just all friends and family. And like, oh my gosh, dude,
Yeah.
so much money on the table. But sometimes it takes somebody, a third party, myself, like yourself, coming in and going, kind of holding up the mirror a little bit to some operator,
Yeah.
have a little reality check, and be like, no, I'm doing this out of love. You're gonna have
Yeah.
better operations, and you'll make more money. So yeah, so the fact that you do that again, that's great.
Yeah, and I was going to add to that. I would say, right now more than anything, nobody wants to buy stabilized deals. Like it's very rare. Like
Yeah.
I'm having a harder time selling a stabilized deal than I am an operational upside deal, just because a lot of the buyers for storage right now are people who are either recently entering the industry or are very new to it.
Yeah.
And so they're typically very aggressive investors. They want the value add, they want the upside. They see value in that more so than just, oh yeah, just there's going to be rent growth for the next X many years. But because of that, if you have a lot of owner occupied units, if you've got some vacant units, if you've got a lot of grandfather tenants, if you have a really high operating expense ratio, those are all signs that say buyers would love this property and they'd be willing to take it down. And the other thing that's huge about storage that a lot of owners don't take into account is there is like most of the time when we're evaluating storage, right, a lot of the valuation, because it's a business more so than real estate, it's based on, future value more than present value. And so because of that, a lot of times, I mean, depending on the property, obviously it depends on how distressed it is, but
Yeah.
we're not that far off from, oftentimes stabilized facilities as far as like pro forma cap rates go.
Hmm.
It really just depends on the deal, obviously, but that's definitely something to take into account as well. If it's, a question of, well, I'm not ready to sell because I need to stabilize the facility. It's like, well, let's at least take a look at the numbers and see where we can go. I'd say C of O's right now are really tricky. Everyone kind of evaluates those differently. And it's also, there's a lot of uncertainty as far as where we're going to be 12 months from now because nobody has a crystal ball.
Yep.
But I do see them trade, but I also see them sitting on market a lot longer than I see, a 25-year-old facility that doesn't even have a fence around it, that's got, a bunch of grandfather tenants, 35% below market rates, right? So people like the old stuff that they can, grow into something new and better.
No, that's great. Well, except seems like you've been doing a lot of you've made a lot of traction in the last couple of years for being a newbie. You've come a long ways, and it seems like you're doing the right things. So that's why I want to, have you come on and tell your story because you're doing all the things. I think that's awesome, and we need more of that in the industry. So that's awesome, man.
I really appreciate it.
Online, people that want to reach out to you, kind of give your areas of where you're looking at again, and then give contact info. So they want to reach out to you and maybe list or buy their properties. You're the man. So go ahead and give your info.
Yeah. So whether you're looking to list, buy, or just want, any sort of market insight, I personally, I hit Montana, Wyoming, Dakotas, Nebraska, Kansas, and Missouri. But we have guys in our company who cover all 50 states. So I know we were even underwriting a deal in Alaska a few months back. So It's crazy out here. But nevertheless, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to direct you to the specialist in that market because we all do specialize in different markets. But you can reach me at my direct line, which is 602-946-4856. You can also shoot me an email with, your information, maybe your background, who you are, what you're looking to buy, what you're looking to sell. My email is my first name, so Mason, Mason, last name or period Gates, my last name Gates @Matthews.com. And again, I'm a very accessible person. If you call me at 8 p.m. on a Sunday, I will probably pick up the phone on the first ring. I'm always on it, so would be happy to answer any questions anyone has. But really appreciate you.
Sweet. Sounds good. We'll have to do this again, man. Thanks a lot, Mason.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Have a good one.
Before we wrap up, just a quick reminder. If you want to level up your storage game, visit theselfstorageshow.com. Grab some high-value freebies, check out top vendor spotlights, and stay in the loop with our newsletter. Do you want to chat about becoming a client with 3 Mile Storage Management? All the info's there. Plus, if you've got a story to share, we're listening. Everything you need is at theselfstorageshow.com.